and get one for half price for a limited time only. Check the ad, then head on over to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, daily till 4:30, Saturdays till 3, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Thank you, Bob. 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Happy 4th of July. Hope you're doing well. Robin and I are here. We're going to go see some fireworks later on.
Yeah.
There are a few places in our area where you can do that. One is the Garden Country Day, and stand up and thank somebody who's with the JCs. Those men and women have been putting on the fireworks, the 4th of July, Independence Day, Garden Country Day event for 49 years. Is that what it said?
I think so.
49 years.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it's amazing. I'm sure it's not cheap. I'm sure it's not easy. I'm sure there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. Everybody who's involved with that, thank you. You give this town, this whole county, this whole area an amazing gift just from the efforts on your part to give us something special. There was one year where the money was really tight and you guys almost didn't do it, and then you came through, and it's got to be... it's a challenge, I'm sure, every year, and so it's a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. So if you get a chance, go out to Garden Country Day, take in some of the sights and the food, and when you buy food or when you participate in the games, I think that you have to buy an armband if you want to do all the rides. There's little rides there for the kids, etc. Mm-hmm. But that little bit of money that you spend, multiplied by all the people that will show up, it makes it worthwhile for the vendors.
It does.
And I think the vendors are the only way that the JCs make back any money at all that they have to spend on those fireworks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and they do such a wonderful job. It's been part of Ocala's tradition as long as I've been here, obviously. I have not been here 49 years. Mm-hmm. But as you and I both remember, it used to be in Tuscarora Park.
Yes, it was wonderful in Tuscarora Park.
I think 1 or 2 years it was at the Marion County Fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And I think 1 or 2 years it was at the McPherson Complex.
Yeah, 1 year it was at there, yeah.
And then it eventually, it's been over at the Golden Ocala property now for quite a few years. Mm-hmm. So anyway, if you get a chance, go out there. Make sure you bring your chair. Trust me on this one. Or your blanket if you prefer. I would say a chair. Here's why. Because that ground gets wet when it rains.
Yeah.
And so a blanket's just going to soak up that water. It's just not going to be comfortable for you.
Yeah, and I would always bring, I would go and get a shower curtain for like $2 or $2.50 at Walmart. And I'd bring that and I'd put it on the ground and then I put the blanket over it. That way the water won't come seeping through. And it's really nice. Yeah. And you bring your cooler, you can bring coolers with your food in it and everything. And it's really, really nice.
But anyway, so that is today. It starts, I think
2 o'clock.
Oh, 2 o'clock, okay.
Yeah, you said 2 o'clock it starts, and that's good because that'll make for a nice day.
And there's lots of entertainment. I don't have the list in front of me, but lots of...
Gemma Adams is
Gemma's
singing
at
be there?
5
o'clock.
Oh,
yep.
No. Oh, my gosh.
She's going to sing at 5 o'clock.
Oh, my gosh.
Gemma Adams
I didn't know that.
Country Day, yep.
Okay.
Yep. She's going to, I think they might start at 4, but for sure she's going to
Let me tell you something.
5.
For the listeners.
She's going to be there.
Let me tell you something. Gemma Adams is an amazingly talented singer. This is a beautiful young lady who has been gifted with this amazing voice. I'm not just saying this. Robin and I have been doing radio since 1984 or so. And we've been doing this show for almost 16 years now. And we have many, 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 many very talented people that come into the studio. Singers and songwriters and writers and musicians of any kind and artists and even the politicians. You have to say there's a talent there. Mm-hmm. We don't normally think of politics as a talent, but I think I see a gift in those people who know how to do that. Anyway, the point being that we usually we see the cream of the crop because they're usually coming in here to promote something that they've done, a record or a show that they're going to be in. I mean, look at the beautiful young singers and performers that show up from the Ocala Civic Theater. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, they are so talented. Well, anyway, so I was introduced to Gemma. We were both introduced to Gemma by her husband. We've known Ron Adams for a very long time. Ron is the owner of Dairy Queen over in Silver Springs.
That's right.
And Ron had called me up and he says, hey, my wife's got a pretty good voice. Is there any way we can get her on the radio? And I said, yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, we know you. And I didn't need to have an audition or anything like that. And I knew I was, it was a risk because a lot of people will say, oh, my sister's a great singer. When she sent us a link to her music and I listened to it, I said to you, oh my gosh, this lady's really the real thing.
Exactly.
And then she came into the studio with nothing but an acoustic guitar. And then she played the guitar and sang. And I was like, oh my gosh, this young lady is the real deal.
She is.
So, so she's going to be at Garden Country Day.
Yep, 5 o'clock. It says right here.
So please, if you want to see somebody who's probably going to be a major star in the music world, she was nominated for something in Nashville this past year.
Brand new artist of the year at the Christian Music Awards.
Okay. Oh, and that's another part of her I guess her genre is that she's a Christian singer. So so sometimes Christian singers, unless your name is Amy Grant, usually Christian singers don't make it to the top of the mainstream charts. But Gemma has the potential. Oh,
Gemma is absolutely outstanding, and she self-accompanies herself on her guitar, which is wonderful. I love when musicians do that.
Well, maybe at this thing today, maybe she's got some kind of track that she's singing to or something.
I don't know.
But anyway, don't you please? She's the real deal. If you get to see,
she is the real deal. She's fabulous.
All right, I have a absolutely, completely different topic. But if you're going to go see fireworks, don't forget, On Top of the World also has an amazing fireworks display.
Yep. And the Navy Band at 5 o'clock.
They have the Navy Band over there, yes. So the Navy Band will be over there. In addition to other bands and musicians, they also have food trucks over there. I don't have their list in front of me either, but they are at, is it Circle Square Commons?
Circle Square Commons, yeah. And everything at On Top of the World, all of the music, all of the entertainment, the Navy Band is all free. All of the music and events and all of the music and the performers at Garden Country Day is all free. So if you want a wonderful evening, an afternoon of music, it's all free. And I really appreciate that part. You don't have to pay for anything. It's great.
All right, so if you're going to see fireworks, I have some behind-the-scenes stuff you might not know about fireworks.
Oh, okay.
Okay, some stuff you might not know.
Okay. I don't know a lot.
Unlike backyard fireworks, the ones that you might buy and start off tonight, professional fireworks are not random in any way. They take months of design and planning and require a host of people to pull it off. A choreographer assembles the script for the show and in most cases programs computers to execute the plan. Isn't that amazing?
That is.
The stagehands or crew carry out the directions of the production manager and choreographer and prepare to safely launch the fireworks. This is all going on behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh.
In some fireworks shows, an announcer will explain to the audience what's coming up. Finally, no show would be successful without the safety crew, whose sole job is to ensure that the fireworks are produced safely. There's only one person who can set the fireworks show in motion, and that's the production manager, also known as the lead shooter. When multiple events are occurring, the production manager manages competing events. That's according to the Pyrotechnics Guild International. That's their union, I guess, right?
The Pyrotechnics, sure.
Their professional organization, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, while you're oohing and ahhing at the fireworks, and you probably don't consider that someone actually designed what you're looking at. It takes an experienced fireworker to create a larger-than-life star-spangled masterpiece. The entire sky is the pyrotechnician's canvas. The shells are the paint, and the art is in the hands of the pyrotechnicians. And often a choreographer will work months to produce a unique show for an event. The shells, the effects, and the sound are selected to paint an ethereal picture that is pleasing to the eye, the ear, and even the skin.
Oh.
The kinetic.
The skin.
Well, kinetic. I said it wrong. It says the kinetic element of it. The kinetic element.
I don't understand that.
Kinetic, like you feel it.
Right, kinetic. Oh, I see.
You
okay,
feel it
so it like
vibrating in your
interacts
chest.
with the skin.
Boom.
Okay, there you go. Now I got it.
That's why I said skin. That was a bad choice of words.
Okay, yeah, all right.
The physical
Okay.
sensation of the boom.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Big boom.
I
and
tingle.
you can literally feel it in your skin.
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
chest.
you can. I love the booms. I love the colors, but I love the booms.
Well, remember we went to that thing in the aquarium in the Florida aquarium, and they had these booms going on in the theater,
Oh yeah.
and you could feel them in your skin. You could feel the
Yeah, you could feel it. Yeah, it was so cool, the rumblings and everything. Yeah, right.
Let's see. Fireworks are designed to look like different flowers. So you might see a chrysanthemum. You might see a smiley face. That's not a flower.
No, I've never seen a smiley face.
I haven't either seen a smiley face.
At that, no.
Anyway, they designed them to do that. They designed them to look like stars or spheres or cubes. You can even have them look like a ladder. And yes, and I've never seen that in person, but I saw that video.
That's got to be a lot of money.
Stairway to Heaven is what it was called.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to have that on top of the world.
To get the fireworks into the air, the aerial shells are placed in a tube. That tube is called a mortar. I guess you knew that one, huh?
Okay. Oh no, because I hear them selling. They say they sell mortars, but I didn't realize. I thought it was the whole thing. I didn't realize that was just the tube. That's pretty interesting.
Fireworks staff light a fast-acting fuse below the shell that contains gunpowder, and the gunpowder explodes, creating a buildup of heat and gas and a whole lot of pressure.
I bet.
When the pressure reaches critical mass, off it goes into the sky. Once the shell is high off the ground, another fuse inside the aerial shell that's on a time delay ignites, causing the bursting charge to explode and light up all those stars you see from the ground. And it's all timed out to happen according to plan.
Isn't that fascinating?
It is fascinating.
It is absolutely fascinating how they can do that. It just, wow. It's amazing.
If you're wondering how the components in a cylinder can end up looking like a heart or a smiley face or even an acronym, the organization that I just gave you the name of, I got the initials. I can't remember what it was called. What was it called again? I'll tell you a second. Find
Well, pyrotechnics something.
Pyrotechnics Guild International.
That's it.
All right.
PGI.
According to them, let's see. The fireworks are created in an aerial shell with embedded colored stars laid out in a pattern of the desired shape. There's filler in between the stars that is usually a quickly burning composite that is light and doesn't compete with the stars. The stars with greater mass travel farther than the lighter stars. This physical trait can be taken advantage of to get the familiar flower-like display you see. So that's how they do it. So if it's a tiny face in the cylinder in the mortar, then it'll be a big old face up in the sky.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I always wondered how the people that put the fireworks shows on here, like at God and Country Day and on Top of the World, how they know what each cylinder is going to look like. So now this is fascinating.
Yeah. Okay.
This is cool.
So if you see lots of little dots in the sky, that's called a peony.
Oh, I love those because it goes.
Right.
It does it does
Right.
that thing.
If you see the typical look where they're like an umbrella,
Oh, yeah.
that's called a willow.
Okay, that makes sense.
The ones that shoot up and then have like looks like a palm tree at the top. That's called a palm.
Oh, okay. Silly me. I should have known all that.
The willow, not to be confused with the spider.
Oh, I love the spider.
The spider looks like the seeds on a dandelion.
Yeah, I love that one because then they pop and then they zip out into the different things.
Right. Yeah.
I love this.
Now this
idea.
also looks like a koosh ball.
Oh.
That's called the chrysanthemum.
Okay.
The crosette is the one that looks like it's just going haywire. It's just going every which way but loose.
Oh yeah.
Rings of fire are called rings, and I guess that's all I have right
It's
now.
like multi things when those go off.
Yeah.
They have like 3 or 4 different boom, boom, boom,
Right.
boom.
Right, so those are
I love those. This is great.
It's kind of hard to tell you on the air. But anyway, hopefully we did our job right there.
You did a good job describing it. The
We have-
willow.
Our contract
the
says that on
dandelion.
4th of July we're allowed to just be silly and have fun.
And I think they're, trying to dissuade people from having sparklers.
A fireworks show is not just a feast for the eyes, but also for the ears, with those giant booms that follow each burst of light. The specific sounds are determined by a mix of chemical combinations within the tubes.
Oh.
So there's actually a science behind the booms. Brilliant glowing colors come from different metal elements. When the chemicals in fireworks burn, energy is released in the form of light. The chemicals burn in different wavelengths of light depending on the metal element. For example, deep reds are the result of burning strontium and lithium compounds. Barium gives off a green color. Copper produces blue. Blue, however, is a fickle hue and considered the most difficult to produce.
Fickle hue
because
is blue.
the copper compound has to be heated just right to give off a brilliant blue color.
Oh, there you go. You not only have to time when they go there, but you got to have the certain amount of heat then. Isn't this fascinating stuff?
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, very, very good. And then finally, the aftermath. What happens to a firework once it explodes? Fireworks are paper, paste, string, and burning compound. After a firework is exploded, the remaining debris is biodegradable paper and a small amount of carbon, according to SmithsonianMag.com. The U.S. Army Pyrotechnics Technology and Prototyping Division have found some alternatives that are more environmentally friendly. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
There you go. Pretty cool stuff.
This is very cool stuff. And the thing is, you have to know what you're doing when you launch all of that stuff. I mean, and you were pointing out to me the other day about the people that do those war things. They hold them in their hand and they, what are those called? Rocket somethings? And they try to put them in their hands and let them shoot off.
Yeah, what are they called?
And that's very dangerous. People can lose hands and fingers and things.
Wow.
Bottle rockets? No, not bottle rockets. It's the mortars or something like that. You were telling me about that, and I never realized.
I saw that on YouTube, where they were being stupid. They were shooting, like you say, Roman candles.
That's it, Roman candles.
They were shooting Roman candles at each other. Yeah, that was very stupid. Anyway, today is the designated birthday for the United States of America. The Declaration of Independence is dated the 4th of July. We easily could have had July 2nd as the date. I'll tell you that in a second. But
okay.
But the 4th of July is the date on the actual document, and that's why we celebrate it on this date. The document itself didn't automatically give us our freedom. It was what happened after the document, because the document declared, as the name suggests, the Declaration of Independence declared that we would no longer be governed by British rule, by the King of England. and so that declaration were words that meant war, literally meant war. And so how long was it? About 7 years we figured out?
Yes, so, about 7 years.
So that declaration put into motion the war called the Revolutionary War, which the Americans ended up winning. We were called the rebels, by the way, back in those days by England. We were all rebels. There was no Yankee or rebel. We were all rebels. Everybody up in New York was a rebel. Can you believe that?
Oh, my gosh.
Well, a lot of the fighting happened up there.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
George Washington had some of his toughest battles right there in that area right there, what we call now New York Harbor, East River, that whole area up there.
Oh, yeah.
And that, I never knew that Nathan Hale was hanged in not too far from where I lived.
Oh, I know. That was something. That was really, really something.
Never knew that. What was his famous line? I regret that I have...
but one life to give for my country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew. I mean, when I learned about it, I had no idea. It was like, I could ride my bicycle to it. I could ride my bicycle to where he was hanged. Who knew?
That's right. Exactly.
Although when I looked it up, apparently there are 3 different places that claim to be the hanging place of Nathan Hale. Mm-hmm. So I don't know who to believe. I'm going to believe the one that's closest to my old home.
Yeah.
All right, here's the thing about July 2nd. It was on the the second day of July, 1776, that the governing body of the 13 colonies, known as the Continental Congress, voted in favor of declaring themselves independent of British rule.
Gosh.
But it was on July 4th that the Declaration of Independence was finalized as a written document, and it is July 4th that appears on the document in its official date. But July 2nd was the actual date it was decided. It was just the paperwork looks like the 4th. It is the 4th.
Gosh, isn't that something?
On July 3rd, 1776, John Adams, who went on to become our second president, wrote a letter to his wife, Abigail, to tell her how excited he was that Congress had voted in favor of independence. This is what he wrote. The second day of July, 1776, will be the most memorable, how do you say this word, Robin? Epocha?
Epocha?
E-P-O-C-H-A? In the history of America.
I don't, what does that mean? Epocha.
There's always something we got to look up.
I know. Epocha.
All right, let me search for epocha. Epocha
Okay.
definition by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary.
Okay, are we pronouncing it correctly, the first, though?
I don't know.
Okay.
Epocha. An archaic variant of epoch. Well, that doesn't tell me anything.
I love those. You look up the word misdemeanor.
That doesn't tell me anything.
I know some of those dictionaries. One day we looked up misdemeanor. It says less than a felony. And then we looked up felony. It says more than a misdemeanor. It didn't even tell you what it was.
Yeah.
It was something.
So anyway, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. There was a wonderful musical made called 1776. And it was a Broadway musical, and then it became a movie with most of the original cast.
That's what I want to watch today. Yeah.
1776?
When was it made?
It was made in about the movie came out in about 1970. The musical was in about 64.
Okay. And who's in it? Do you know who's in the movie?
Yes, I've seen the movie. It's a very nice movie.
No, who's in it?
William Daniels plays the part of John Adams. Ken Howard plays the part of Jefferson. Howard Da Silva plays Franklin, and I can't remember the others, but it's most of the original Broadway cast is in it.
Oh, neat. Oh, all right. There's my choice for today. That's what I want to watch. All right. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you. Happy 4th of July. Yeah. The movie I was thinking I wanted to watch but it turned out to be a miniseries, was the one about John Adams. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to watch a miniseries. That's like 7 hours or 8 hours, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not that into movies.
Well, that's why the miniseries is really a good idea, because of, you can watch it like whatever night they have it on TV, and it's just to go to something, just like when they had Roots on, the miniseries. Mm-hmm. That was really good, because it was on like 2 nights, or each week had 2 nights or something like that, and it was something good to look forward to. You got into the story. It was very tastefully done. So I do like miniseries.
One more thing before we wrap up this segment here. You'll never guess who has the most valuable signature on the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, the most valuable.
What do you think of John Hancock?
Oh, my God. Well, he's the biggest. I don't
Right.
think it's the most valuable.
In 1776...
Ben Franklin?
Let me read this to you. In 1776, 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence. Many were teenagers at the time. Some of them went on to become president. One of their names is basically synonymous with the word signature today, which is, of course, John Hancock. Others have museums, monuments, and even beers named after them. Mm-hmm. Button Gwinnett is not one of those men, and yet his signature is the most valuable of the dozens on the Declaration.
I don't know who he is.
Button Gwinnett.
Button Gwinnett.
It's Gwinnett's obscurity that makes his signature so much more valuable than the other signers. Button Gwinnett, yes, Button was his real name, was born in England in 1735. At the age of 30, he moved to the American colonies, living in Georgia, He suffered through multiple failed business endeavors, which did not exactly make him a celebrity. Eventually, Gwinnett got into politics and became very passionate about the colony's independence. And sure enough, there he was in Independence Hall in 1776, signing the Declaration of Independence.
Nice.
Below and to the left of John Hancock's now famous penmanship. And then in 1777, he was killed in a duel with a political rival, much like another founding father we know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
In the 1820s, very few signers of the Declaration were still alive, and history enthusiasts began searching for and collecting signatures of all 56 founding fathers. For the Declaration's more well-known signers, signatures were not that hard to find. Many of them were prominent politicians who had signed lots of documents in their day. Ben Franklin, in particular, wrote scores of letters, but that Button guy, finding his signature was not so easy.
Oh.
Due to his life of obscurity and its untimely end about a year after the fact that he signed the Declaration of Independence, his signature was and still is the rarest of the 56. According to HistoryBuff.com, there are only 51 known signatures in existence by Button.
Wow.
Button Gwinnett.
Gosh.
Well, that's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
According to Radiolab, Gwinnett's signature surpasses those of George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and many other major historical figures in value.
Gosh.
I just find that fascinating.
It is. It's absolutely fascinating. And the age of the founding fathers also is very fascinating.
Yeah, they were all kids.
Extremely.
Well, pretty much kids.
Yeah, but they were pretty wise when they drafted the documents.
Well, you had to
that
get
they
wise
drafted.
quickly because she died quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's set off some fireworks
Okay.
and we'll be right back. There we go. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Source. This is AM Ocala Live on the 4th of July. We'll be back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
In the good old summertime, it takes you back, doesn't it? Makes you think and remember. What did you do in the summertime when you were a kid? At Palm Garden of Ocala, we